Welcome, everyone, to Props and Parlays. We got two Monday Night Football games to break down from a props betting standpoint. Bills at Falcons, Bears at Commanders. I am your host, Andy Lang, being joined, as always, by my fellow props betting expert, Andrew McInnis. Andrew, are you aware how close we were to hitting last week's 17-1 same game parlay?
Yes.
Our guy that got a sack got credited with half a sack. If they would have credited him with a full sack, we hit our 17-1, and now we're free rolling for the rest of the season. So we're gonna hit a same game parlay.
You're telling me even with a sack prop, we're getting the 0.5 loss. That's just tough. And so it begs the question: would we have rather have barely lost that, or come not even close? That's the question. I think we're getting one step closer. This week is the week. Looking forward to it, and going to be a great Monday here, Andy.
I want to be creeping up on it. I want to know we're getting close.
Yeah.
I want to know we're at least in the ballpark of hitting some of these. So, but while we're doing this, guys, please hit the like button real quick. Takes 1 second. Just hit the like button, and let's start with the Bills and at the Falcons. And this is the game we're going to do the same game parlay in. I just want to start with the passing props here, Andrew. And on paper, by position in fantasy, these are the two best passing defenses, but take it with a grain of salt here, Andrew, because the Bills have faced Lamar Jackson, who torched them in week 1, but most of that was Derrick Henry. Then they faced Justin Fields, then Tua, then Spencer Rattler, and then they faced Drake May, and Drake May had about 275 yards, so not great as far as the level of competition. And you know, the Falcons kind of a little bit of the same thing here. They faced Tampa Bay with Baker Mayfield, had a good game, but then J.J. McCarthy, Bryce Young. They faced Washington, but that was Marcus Mariota. So I'm not going to be too concerned about what the ranking is of these passing defenses. So I'll go first, and I am going to take Michael Penix over this 224.5 passing. He went under in 2 blowouts, but he went over in 2 games that were 1-score games. And I have the Falcons +4 in my mega pick 5 here, Andrew. I think this is going to be a really close game. I think there's going to be times where the Falcons need him to throw. I love this 224.5. Then I'm going to keep riding the streak of Josh Allen. He's going over this 1.5 passing touchdowns. Gone over in 4 out of 5. The only game he didn't was a blowout against the Jets. It feels like they're running with James Cook when they get in close this year to the end zone, but then there's a lot of Josh Allen passing touchdowns. He's hitting at a much higher click than he was last year. So Penix over yards, Josh Allen over passing touchdowns. What do you think about passing props in this one?
I think the only thing that gets in the way of your passing touchdown prop there is his own legs, getting the ball into the end zone on his own, because that, it's either he gets a touchdown or he goes over 1.5. Sometimes even both can happen. I'll tell you, I do like Josh Allen just over his number. I locked in 227.5 as far as his passing yards. I got Atlanta's secondary ranking bottom 10 in completion rate allowed. So like you mentioned, some decent defensive stuff to look at for both these teams, but they are giving up a ton of passes. And with Josh Allen, you give him enough time, you let him complete enough passes, he's going to start killing you deep downfield. And although I was tempted by the completions, I do think that this number's good enough for me to take a look at the yards as a whole. Now, I do, of course, expect Atlanta to be down. And when I look at this one here, I thought it was interesting. The last couple weeks, Buffalo's pass defense has allowed 7.7 passing yards per attempt, second worst over the last few weeks here, Andy. So there's 2 bets that I like. Number 1, I like the completions for Penix Jr., because I do think that they're going to be trailing. They're going to have to throw the ball a lot, even though early in the game they're going to try and do their best to run the ball. But I'm going back to a prop that started off slow for me this year and has certainly picked it up. We're going to go with the longest completion over 33.5. Right now, we're seeing 69 as the highest from him, but also we're seeing 30, 40, 50 on pretty much a consistent basis over the past handful of weeks from him. And in the position, the funny thing is for him, it's usually garbage time, or it's usually late in the game when it doesn't actually end up leading to a touchdown or anything like that. But with the number of completions this Bills team is currently giving up, when it gets to a certain point in the game, I think they're going to have to stop throwing or running the ball. Then all of a sudden you start airing it out. It opens up opportunities. So 33.5 is the number. I like it there. And I'm interested in that completions for him as well. But we'll go with probably the best bet for the passing one would be Josh Allen, just simply because I think he is going to get to the secondary of the Falcons.
We'll move on to the receiving props in this one, and I think my favorite one is Darnell Mooney has been officially ruled out, so I'm going to go right back to Kyle Pitts over 3.5 receptions. It's pretty simple. Going over this in every game this season without Mooney. It's Drake London and it's Kyle Pitts, and I don't need to overthink this one. So as long as the books are hanging 3.5, and but they're in a tough spot because if they move it up to 4.5, now you're looking at juice to the under. So I think they're kind of skating by on this one, but I'll keep riding Kyle Pitts over this one again. You and I expect this game to be close. We expect there to be a good amount of yards here. So Kyle Pitts over his receptions, and then Josh Palmer. If you want to dig a little bit deeper, this is kind of one of those hidden gems, over 18.5 yards receiving. It's so low, but I'll give you two Josh Palmer props here, Andrew. Josh Palmer over 18.5 receiving and over 12.5 on his longest catch. He's smoked this total in 4 out of 5 games in both categories. In fact, one catch has gotten him over 18.5 yards just on his receiving total in some of these games. So when he catches a ball, listen, he's not high volume, but it's definitely quality over quantity for Josh Palmer. And as long as this thing is below 20, I'll keep playing it. So Kyle Pitts over his receptions, Josh Palmer over his receiving and his longest catch total. What do you think about these receiving props?
There's just one that I'm going to give out, and I like this one quite a bit here. And Andy, some of these apps and these websites that we look at when we're doing our prop work, they really help us figure out which route runners teams don't do well against, and which positions on the field they aren't doing well against. Well, looking at things right now, it looks like we have a Falcons team that just doesn't do well against slot receivers. Khalil Shakir over 47.5 receiving yards, I think is a really, really good bet here. Falcons slot coverage allowing 9.4 yards per target. And the couple guys that are involved in that area for them are right now amongst the worst in the entire league at their position. They're giving up a lot of short yardage plays. And Khalil Shakir, that's how he picks up all his numbers, except for it's not too much short yardage for him. They're giving up 9.4 yards to this position, to this route that Shakir likes to run on and on and on all game long. So you could look towards receptions as well. But when I see a number like that, 9 yards per target, I feel like just looking at the yards for him. So I am interested in that. That is what probably my free play of the day as far as this game is concerned. But you mentioned Josh Palmer. I want to ask you, Andy, is he a guy that, because I have a buddy that keeps betting him as well. Is he a receptions guy or a yards guy for you right now? Because I feel like there's been on and off where I'm like, this game is receptions. And then I'm like, no, it's got to be yards just because there could be one huge one that makes a difference. But he was someone I looked at as well. And then I'll tell you, I kind of wanted to be a little bit, well, not contrarian, I guess, but go towards the under on Pitts just because I feel like he's not really a guy that's catching any deep balls. And unless he's kind of ends up just being that safety guy, I feel like they're going to need more. Someone catching deeper balls, and he's going to probably be used for blocking. I don't know. Under 3.5 receptions for him, plus 105 is interesting. But yeah, there's a couple guys today, like you mentioned the Palmer one. I think he's only a yards guy, not a receptions guy. So that could be one of those ones tonight where we look towards under receptions over yards.
Oh, I love this. The same game parlay on on one of these. Yeah, with Palmer, it's it's the best of both worlds. If he catches a lot more passes than normal, he's going to probably go over his yards, but he's a bigger play guy. He's one of those where it's like, oh, busted coverage. There's Josh Palmer wide open for 28 yards, and he ends the game with 2 catches for 35 yards. But yeah, if you're taking the receptions, then he may have one for 30, and you're like, why didn't I just take the yards? So with Palmer, it's just about the yards for me on that one. So let's move to rushing. Again, on paper, Buffalo second best rush offense, Atlanta 8th best rush offense. So you got some pretty good rushing offenses here. And I think the books know this because I think these lines are very dialed in. The only one that I'm kind of gravitating towards, and this might be a play every week, Josh Allen over 13.5 longest rush. Ooh. He only did this 6 times last year, Andrew, and he's done it 4 games in a row. It's like this offense has some more explosive plays in the running game. I went back and looked at their yards per play. They're ahead of last year's average. And last year was a very explosive offense, and they're even doing it again this year. So it's really the only rushing prop I really liked in this one. I took a look at James Cook over rush attempts, but they got this thing kind of high, and he went under in the game they were behind against Baltimore. He went under in the loss against the Patriots. So, and then I can't figure out the Falcons running backs. I won't have a bet on an Atlanta Falcons running back for the rest of the year. I already know that. I can't figure out Robinson. I can't figure out Algier. So Josh Allen, keep an eye on this over longest rush. What do you think about rushing props?
I'm going to take under 15 and a half attempts for Bijan Robinson. It's obviously not a great odds there, I guess you could say. It's leaning towards 125, 130 now. I just think it's going to get to a point in the game they're going to be throwing the ball consistently. Look, I think it's going to be somewhat close, but I do think the Bills start to separate. And I think that with the chunk yardage is where they're going to have the success. And if I like some passing props and some completions and stuff at the quarterback position, then I kind of do lean towards some unders. And the best part about this attempts one here, guys, is that realistically, we could see Robinson break off for a huge play. We could see him get into the end zone on a running play. But we're all just looking at the attempts here in this one. And that's all I'm really concerned about. But, okay, Andy, I'm going to throw this at you. I know some people might not care about these type of trends, but Josh Allen rushing yards, I feel like I've had a really good read on him. A lot of times I do like looking at him in big games when they're somewhat of a close spread, obviously here being 3.5. But this is kind of interesting. He has gone over 33.5 rushing yards in 4 of his last 5 primetime games. So take that for what it's worth.
Of course,
that one. And if you don't care about that one, this one's kind of interesting. Allen's scramble rate jumps up to 17% against man-heavy defenses, and Falcons run man-on-man 50% of the snaps. This is a guy, I think, that right now he has been – I mean, you talk about the longest rush, which certainly has been hitting, but he's been pretty smart about his rushes. Like, he's not taking as much contact as he used to. He's seeing the holes and using them and then sliding, which I'm sure coaches are happy to see him protecting his safety. But what people don't realize is, like, as much as I want, of course, you to hit that play, and he is breaking off for one big play, it seems like, on the ground most games, with a number like 33.5, all you need is Josh Allen to get to like 6 or 7, I think, and you're going to get it. It's just a chunk rushing yards that I really think you need. So I think he gets this one here. And, hey, you know what? I don't really mind that primetime trend. It's okay with me. I'll take it. It's a different day. You know, these guys play on Sundays. This is a different day to play football.
Hey, listen, Corbin, who we do our show with, calls him greedy Josh Allen. It's like, yeah, take us over on primetime games. Take him to score a touchdown. Take his rushing props. He loves showing off in primetime games, which works great for us prop bettors if we can find those trends. So that's a great find on primetime games for Josh Allen. So I couldn't really find a whole lot for anytime touchdown props. The price has gone down on James Cook. Obviously, he was at an unsustainable rate. The price got out of control after the first 3 weeks for Jalen Hurts, and we laid off of it for clients 2 weeks in a row. Price got down to minus 130, so we fired on it this week, and he went in. I feel like the books are giving us a little bit of a discount on James Cook. He was up to minus 200. Now he's down to minus 150. I think I'd go back to James Cook anytime touchdown, but nothing with any big-time confidence. What do you think about touchdown props?
Let me just drop a bomb on you really quick here, Andy. You're talking about Corbin's nickname for Josh Allen. Well, I'm going to ride with that nickname here. Let's go 5-1. Not 1, but 2 rushing touchdowns for Josh Allen. We haven't really given out many 2+ touchdowns on the show here since the CMAC days when Christian McCaffrey was doing that, and it was like a minus 130 just to get in the end zone here at least. So 5-1 on that one here. And I got to say, if I think that Shakir is going to be someone that gets targeted quite a bit, that plus 220 number is pretty interesting to look at as well. So kind of more of a fun one, and then one that I'll probably take a little more serious with that Shakir prop.
All right, it's time to build a same-game parlay. We were one statistician away from giving our guy a full sack instead of a half sack last week. So we each get one leg. We end up with a 4-leg same-game parlay. I will go first here. I'm going to go the Falcons over 22.5 on their team total. They had a 30-0 loss to the Panthers. They came back, scored 34 the next week at home. And the Bills have played 3 bad offenses, and they held them under: Jets, Dolphins, and Saints. Ravens flew over. Patriots went over against them. I like this Falcons team at home, prime time. Give me the Falcons over I'm sorry, Falcons over 22.5 on the team total as my first leg. What's your first leg?
Let's get on the board here with just over 220 plus passing yards for Josh Allen here. I think it's going to be a good night for him. I think we're going to see him, get after the secondary of this Atlanta team. And they are giving up a lot of yards per pass right now. And this is a team I think that even though they're rested and they're feeling good coming into this game, I think Josh Allen should be able to do some damage against. So we'll squeeze it down a little bit and we'll go 220.
All right, I am going to go with the Josh Palmer theme, and I'm going to take him at plus 141 to have 25 plus yards. I mean, he's averaging 34.8, and I'm getting plus 141 on the 25 plus. So this is one play for a guy like this. So if you think Josh Allen's going to go over, I got to think Palmer's going to be involved in this one. So all right, we have Falcons over 22.5 on their team total. Josh Allen 220 plus on the passing yards, and Josh Palmer 25 plus receiving yards. Last leg, what do you got for us?
Andy, I'm really confident in this Shakir one. I mentioned it's my free play of the day. Let's rock with it. No alternate number. We're going to go over on his receiving yards. I just think he gets targeted a ton. I feel like they do very poor against his slot coverage, and hopefully he has a huge day for us. This is one of those ones where you could play receptions or yards, but I'm just confident with how many yards they're giving up to the spot that he likes to go to. So I feel good about this week's parlay, man. I do.
7-1, very disciplined approach by us. Very, very disciplined. Let's just get on the board here. Sometimes you just need to see one go in. So the same game parlays, the team total over 22.5. Josh Allen 220 plus passing yards. Josh Palmer 25 plus receiving yards, and Shakir over his receiving yards. I've got that locked in at 47.5 and a 7-1. All right, great job on the same game parlay. Let's get this one home. Yeah, reasonable. Guys, in the comments section, give us your favorite prop for tonight. Give us your thoughts on some of the props we're going over. What do you like in this game? What do you like in the Bears game? Before we do that, again, hit the like button, guys. It really helps the algorithm out. You know how the algorithm boost works. Andrew, what do you have up for clients up at WagerTalk today? You got a busy day with all the hockey starting early.
Yeah, it is a really busy day. The NHL schedule makers, look, you know I'm the biggest hockey fan there is. There's one thing that they're bad at, it's marketing. So
oh, we lost Andrew.
The other thing they're bad at is having Wi-Fi, apparently, Andy. Jesus Christ.
Internet. All right, so here's what
do
Andrew's
you have,
talking about.
Andy?
All right, well, I'll talk about what Andrew has. So hockey starts at like 1 p.m. Eastern time because it's Canadian Thanksgiving. And there's a bunch of games, and Andrew has a loaded slate for NHL. He also has his NFL best bet that is up for tonight. I believe he has 2 of them. There's a prop and a side, so that's up at WagerTalk. I have one NFL prop, and it's been my favorite one of the week that we locked in. So I have that up. We're 4-3 this week on props. It's been a really good run. That makes us on a 12-6 run on props, and the best part, we're on a 7-1 primetime run. We're like Josh Allen. We've been seeing these primetime games really, really well. So you want to cash with us tonight, go ahead and cash on this one prop that we have. So like I said, we're 4-3 this week. We get this one home. We're 5-3, and we are well on our way to hitting that season goal of 59% on props. That is over at wt.buzz/AL. over at WagerTalk.com. And don't forget, we got $5 Tuesday coming up tomorrow. All handicappers will have a $5 play up. It's the last week of Contender Series. So once $5 Tuesday play comes up on Contender Series, lock it in, and we finish out Contender Series strong. So we're waiting for Andrew to jump back in here. So I will just jump ahead to the Bears at the Commanders here. And we will start with the passing props again. You guys know I love my no interceptions props. We lost one yesterday on Jordan Love, but I think you can look at Jaden Daniels not to have an interception. He doesn't have any this season. My only worry is the Bears have been very good about interceptions. They have 7 interceptions on defense this season. I've talked about Caleb Williams not throwing an interception. I will still keep riding it. He's 2-2 on this one, so we've gotten juiced a little bit on that one, but I'm going to continue to ride the trend that he will figure it out and stop throwing the ball to the other team. So, and I'm also looking at Caleb Williams over 233.5 passing. Commanders give up about 254 per game. The Bears have had a week off to prepare and get their offense a little bit more dialed in. And the only other team in the bottom 20 in pass defense that he faced, he had 298. So take a little sprinkle on Caleb Williams over 233.5. It's not the most confident play in the world, but I will go ahead and roll with that one. So, all right, receiving props. Deebo Samuel is banged up. I don't even know if he's going to play tonight. It's kind of a game time decision. He popped up late on the injury report. I'm going to take his under 5.5 reception. If he doesn't play, you're going to get a void. But if he does play, is he going to be 100%? So I'll take under 5.5 receptions. And to piggyback off that, Luke McCaffrey over 28.5 receiving. There are so many injuries to the Commanders' wide receiving core. You've got Terry McLaurin who's out. You got Deebo who's out. Deebo had 11 targets last week. So Luke McCaffrey may be the last wide receiver standing to get all these targets. So is he an elite talent at the wide receiver position? No, but sometimes pure volume is going to get you there. So Luke McCaffrey over there. And then we talked about Rome Odunze. I mean, I like a lot of receiving props in this game. We talked about Rome Odunze, but it's sneaky. DJ Moore over 3.5 receptions. He's had 4, 4, and 5 the last 3 games. He's getting 5+ targets each game. And Caleb, he can be a little wild with the ball, but DJ Moore is catching more of the shorter passes. So he's kind of more of the check down guy. So over 3.5 receptions for DJ Moore. Again, I would expect this game to be really close. I don't expect a blowout on either way, which forces the team out of their game plan. And then Krosky Merritt, I think this is a bargain here, over 8.5 receiving. He has cemented himself as the number 1 back in Washington, and he's had 2 catches each of the last 2 weeks, and he's gone over this total in those 2 weeks. So you give me 2 catches for Krosky Merritt, he's going to go over this 8.5 receiving. I think last week he had like 38 yards. So, I mean, this is one of those numbers that I love because it's one play. You can get a screen pass and go for 11, 12 yards, and you've cashed it. And then you get the second catch, which is just icing on the cake. We move to rushing, and I'm going to take a sprinkle on DeAndre Swift under 13.5 rush attempts. The Commanders give up 23+ rush attempts per game, but Caleb Williams has 26 rushes on the season, and Monangai has had 17 carries the last 4 games. He popped up on the injury report this week, but he was a full participant in Friday. So DeAndre Swift has not, no pun intended, run away with this Bears lead back rushing job. Like he's been okay. But don't be surprised if Monangai gets a few more of these carries and these touches now that he's been viewed as a full participant on Friday. So I also think you can look at Krosky Merritt over his rushing. Again, he's getting all the work, and this is a Bears rush defense that struggles mightily. But I like a big game from Krosky Merritt here. And I really don't know a whole lot what to expect from Jane Daniels or Caleb Williams as far as health-wise. They're both expected to play. They're both expected to play the full game, both dealing with a little nicked-up injuries. But like we always say, if they're good enough to play for their team, they're good enough for us to bet on in props. So, all right, we've lost Andrew. Andrew has lost his power completely. But again, Andrew has his NHL pack that is up. He's got his NFL best bets that are up for Monday Night Football, and I've got one best bet. That's the only play I need to turn a profit today. wt.buzz/AL. From the beginning of the week, this has been my favorite prop for the entire week. So we're hitting about 56% this season. Get this one home. We're getting closer to that 58, 59% goal that we've had. We're off of a 5-2 week last week. And the big thing, we're 7-1 in primetime games. I don't know why we've been seeing the primetime games so well, but it's just been working for us. So cash with us. These are plays that we bet with our own money. You can get their shortcut, wt.buzz/AL. All right, hit the like button and leave a comment in the comment section. You guys know I love reading those comments. Tell us if you agree or disagree with anything we've said today, and give me your props, maybe a same-game parlay as well. Thanks for joining us, everyone. This is Props and Parlay. Shout out to Andrew. I know he's got a busy day ahead of him. Bummer on the power, but it's going to be a busy day in NHL. You can catch him and Carmine on Puck Time coming up here in about 11 o'clock Eastern. You can catch the replay on WagerTalk's YouTube channel. Thanks very much. We'll be back next week. Good luck on your bets tonight. Take care.